First thing, we want to give away the wow thing from our previous video. That's going to TXIKI6X. Thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate it. Hey everyone, it's Rick Carson. I'm at the beautiful Make Believe Studios, and today I want to talk to you about a piece of gear you probably haven't heard of before, and that's the Mill City Systems 7-channel mixer. I don't really know what this thing is. It's serial number 1533, and if I had to assume, there are not 1533 of these. If there were 33 of them around, I'd be surprised. And if you start Googling about this thing, the only thing that you're going to find information about is this one right here. You may find a little bit of information about an equalizer and a crossover. There's a couple other products that this company seemed to have made. You may also find some information about a guy named Jim who works for EMI. Not the EMI that you're thinking of, but an EMI in Minnesota, who I guess was involved in originally designing this stuff back in the day. And when I came across it, it instantly caught my eye because of the big VU meter and the potentiometers. But ultimately, now that I've had this thing for a while, I've fallen in love with the design of it. For what I want out of a guitar mixer, this thing is almost perfect. There's a couple caveats. One, it's not stereo, which is why I think it's particularly great for guitar, because I could bring in a bunch of mono microphones, some to mono, and then I can also, strap a Pultec on the end of this thing. I'm all good. And that's typically how I like to record guitar right now. I don't tend to EQ the individual microphones. I tend to EQ all of the blend of microphones. And this thing would work out perfect for that. Also, it has send and returns on each individual channel, so I could use those as direct outputs because sometimes I do want to record each cabinet or amp individually. And my current setup with the API allows me to do all of those things. A lot of the times I use 1073s to record guitars, so I wanted to hear how this compared to a 1073. I've used this before, and I know that it sounded relatively good to me, but it had headroom problems. If you hit it too hard, it definitely started to clip like a calculator. And I'm assuming that's because it's, a monolithic IC device, and it probably has some headroom issues. The one thing that's nice about electric guitar is that it's a relatively solid, steady signal, and you can go ahead and gain stage around that. So that's exactly what we did. We recorded an electric guitar with this and a 1073, so we could hear a comparison. And when it comes to the preamplifiers, they're actually pretty close. As long as you mind your gain staging and don't clip, they both sound pretty good. EQ, though, is where, boys become men. And I have to say that it sounded so different when set up that I actually thought that our test was flawed and I had to run this test twice. But no, really, the 1073 EQ just destroys this thing. I don't really rely on the 1073 EQ too much when EQing guitars. As I said, I like to strap a Pultec on the output of the bus that we use to sum things together on the API. But this thing, I wouldn't need to use these EQs. So for you guys at home, would you utilize this as a guitar mixer? Is that something that you'd be interested in? How do you think it sounds? Personally, I love its features. I love that it's got a 3-band equalizer with highs and lows, and I love that it's got a selectable mid-range. Maybe guitars isn't what this thing needs to do in my life, but for what I want out of a guitar mixer, I think that this is the perfect layout with its simple channel count, it's easy to send to effect sends, and its very simple master section. I'm curious on what you guys think on not only of its sound or its functionality. I'm also very curious if you guys have ever heard of Mill City Systems before, or if you've ever seen anything like this. Would you take the time to modify the equalizer, or would you just keep the 1073s? Should the 1073s go and this stay, and we put a little bit of time, attention, value, and energy into seeing if we can make this as great as those things are? What would you like to see happen? I will say that, there's a lot of money wrapped up in the 1073s where I only have $100 wrapped up in this. So curious on your thoughts. Excited to see what you think.